I didn't forget.
I forgot. I was trying to talk to you about it today, and then I forgot. So I'm glad you remembered so that I didn't forget again. All right, we are back to talk about the Bucks and the Brewers today. And I said it in my group of Bucks writers because I write for Fansided for the Bucks. I'm going to need a heart exam after this series.
Oh my God, yeah. It's so physical, and you never know which team's gonna make the 3 pointers, which way the ball's gonna bounce. It's been a really good series. I know that we lost 2 games and they were
Mm-hmm.
heartbreaking, but everything aside, it's been a really really good basketball series. I think once the refs, take the refs out of it because they're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
inconsistent anyways. You take them out of it. I think we got some good basketball. This is what playoffs is about, in my opinion.
I could do with a little less flopping because it's really annoying. Like last night when Drew Holiday stole the ball from Marcus Smart and he just like jumped and like starfished in the middle of the air. It's like, really?
And I had Celtics fans telling me he doesn't flop. They typed that on their phone and said Marcus Smart doesn't flop. I was like, "Are you serious, bro?" What up, Isaac? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, that's a discussion. That's a whole different discussion. You know what? We can make a bonus episode of the biggest floppers in the NBA. That's a good one right there.
Writing it down right now.
Smart's definitely on the list, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying
I
to think just
mean,
off the top of my head.
Luka's a pretty big flopper.
Yeah, touche.
And I respect Luka's game. Love watching Luka play. He can control the pace and all that stuff. But
Maybe Devin Booker.
like he saw a ghost and jumped.
Like
Yeah, he did. He
Hey,
did.
if you didn't see it on the Wisco Fanatics page today, I posted that Marcus Smart checks his closet for Drew Holiday.
He does.
All right, let's start with Game 3. We get to go win, loss, win at least with this. So we get to sandwich the bad news in the middle. But let's start with Game 3.
Game 3, man. This was the game where Smart thought that he got fouled at the end of the game for a 3-point shot. No?
Nope, it is, but he didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He didn't. He
What's
didn't.
up, Dan?
Oh my God. He didn't call us dicks this week. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You sick? Giannis was absolutely crazy in this game. Kind of like he's been the entire series. 42 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. What else do you want to say about the guy? I mean, he's been taking
Two
some
steals
bad.
and 2 blocks. That's what I want to say. Throw that in
Two
there,
steals,
too.
2 blocks.
and
He's
two
been taking
blocks.
some really bad 3-point attempts, in my opinion. But on the other end of the spectrum, I'm gonna, play that side. You got to think about what Giannis has been going through, and Bud's offense, leading into last night was not very good. They needed to get the ball out of his hands, and Bud was kind of forcing Giannis to tire himself out. Like he's just running into 2 people for 48 minutes. It's like, Bud, help him out at least, Drew didn't shoot very good in this game. Brook Lopez played well. Bobby was okay. Pat Connaughton hit some big threes like he always is. Outside of that, it was really the turnovers, man. That's the one thing that I want to keep talking about is the goddamn turnovers, because it's like we had a big turnover game and then a not big turnover game, and then yesterday it was starting to look like a big turnover game, right?
Ugh.
It was bad, man. I was like, oh God. So I'm just gonna stay up and force myself to stay up and watch this shit. But game 3, it was just a hard fought game. They needed to respond and they did. They got a 2-point win.
So this was the first game where Budenholzer moved Grayson Allen into the starting lineup and put Bobby on the bench.
Yeah, for 0
Personally,
points.
I think they should switch that back. We'll talk about what ended up happening with last night's game a little more when we talk about Game 5. But we talked about after Game 2 that we wanted to see them use Giannis as a screener more often, and they did that early in this game, and it started to work well. Bobby Portis came out with his energy. Brook Lopez scored first 4 points of the game. West was doing a really good job on Tatum. And then I want to highlight one play by Bobby Portis, Bobby Goggles, using his energy. So he helped out onto Grant Williams in the corner, waited for Wesley Matthews to get back, and then ran all the way back so Wesley Matthews could get on Tatum. And then Lopez could get back to, I think it was Horford. And then he went all the way back to his man, Grant Williams, and ran him off the 3-point line and forced him into a contested floater. He got the rebound, brought the ball up on the fast break, and kicked the ball out to Pat Connaughton for a 3.
And that was all.
That's Bobby Portis energy right there.
Yes, it was. All of that was Bobby Portis. And those are impact plays that start runs.
Absolutely. So the Bucks' defensive energy was just leaps and bounds better than it was in Game 2. And if Pat Connaughton stays hot, the Bucks are in a really good position. Guys, they just got to knock down their open looks. Like Giannis is driving and he's attracting so much attention. You got to have guys like Pat and Grayson and Bobby and even Brooke and Drew and Wes knocking down their open shots because Giannis is surrounded by shooters.
Yep.
So guys got to hit those open shots. It's good to see Brook Lopez get going on offense in this game. Giannis needs to, like you said, stop shooting threes, or at least dial them down a bit and not shoot them with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
I mean, the one he took last night at the end of the game was in rhythm, so I don't have a problem with that one at all.
And there's nobody near him. He wasn't doing like I said, walking up off of a dribble and just kind of pulling up with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Like Giannis, I realize that you're a better player than Kevin Durant, but you're not Kevin Durant in that aspect.
Yep, I agree.
You're not pulling up walk up 3-pointers, so don't do that. Especially early in the shot clock. If there's 8 seconds left in the shot clock and you want to get that because it's a more open look than trying to drive and potentially draw an offensive foul, that's different. But 20 seconds on the shot clock, let's get a better shot.
Yeah, let's move the ball a little bit here.
Yeah. So between poor shooting, poor officiating, physical play, the series basically is going to come down to open shots and fundamentals. Both teams in the first half of Game 3 combined 7 for 36 on threes. It was rough. Celtics were on pace for 34 free throws, which they finished with, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So moving to the second half, Giannis is still shooting threes. Like, Boston wants that. You texted me, it's basically a turnover for Giannis to shoot a 3, like I said, early in the shot clock. It's basically a turnover. Unless you're getting offensive rebounds, which is a different discussion. But, and then everybody's in foul trouble, and then guys are starting to have to play conservative on defense because they don't want to foul out. Which that's where the ref show comes in, and that's where, I don't care what team is playing and what team is not getting the benefit of the foul calls. I just want to see a consistently officiated game so that guys don't have to change the way that they play because of the officials.
And we talked about that too. If you're going to call it on both ends. I can't argue with you then. If you're calling it on both ends, I can't argue. Okay, clearly they're making that call. It's like an umpire in baseball. If you have a low strike zone and they call that consistently, it is what it is, man. I can't.
Yeah. So, like you said, just the consistency. As far as consistency on foul call goes, I don't know what the hell Brook Lopez has to do to get a damn foul call.
I don't know either, man.
He literally gets pushed, pulled, shoved to the ground, and still doesn't get foul calls. Yeah, that's what it is, Isaac. Shooting them at the wrong times. Yeah, it's an empty possession, and it's basically the same as a turnover at that point. So, Giannis carried the Bucks through the third quarter and outscored Boston 34-17 in the third quarter. Milwaukee did. Fourth quarter, and I said this to Jake and a couple other people, that the Bucks came out in the fourth quarter of this game and Game 4 in the Mike McCarthy philosophy of protect the lead, don't expand it. That shit drove me nuts because Boston isn't going away because you have a lead.
No.
They blew a bunch of leads earlier in the year. They're not going away. They know leads can evaporate because it happened to them a whole bunch of times. So Boston didn't go away. Bucks come out a little bit lazy on defense. Boston goes on a 9-2 run, cuts the lead to 5 early. And then this is where Al Horford starts doing his thing that ends up lasting for 2 games. What's up, Big Cheese? Starts doing his thing that lasts for 2 full games. And you got to at least put a hand up.
Yeah.
You got to at least try to run him off the 3-point line or make him somewhat contested. When you give a veteran a comfortable, all set in motion, ready to shoot, feel good look at a basket, he's going to put it in.
Dude, he was literally shooting warm-up jumpers.
That's basically what it is. It's him in the gym by himself when nobody's within 5 feet of him.
Yeah, it's bad.
So Boston makes 11 of 14 field goals in the first 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. Then they go on a 20-9 run, and then this game is close, and then Drew and Giannis have to close it out. So this game ended up being way closer than it needed to be, but like Jake said, Giannis had 42, 12, and 8, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Drew Holiday had 25 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Brook Lopez, 13 points, 10 rebounds. That was nice to see from Brook Lopez. Everybody's always like, oh, he's big. Why doesn't he get more rebounds? Because he's usually pushing people out of the way. And then 2 assists from Brook and 2 steals. Now, Jake texted me this too. The Bucks missed Chris this game. They missed him in game 4 too. I mean, when Chris has been like the main closer as far as when offense is hard to come by and guys are tired, like Chris is the guy you go to. Think
about the emotional maturity I've went through where I hated Chris and now I'm like, God damn, we miss Chris. We miss Chris so much.
That's I will give you credit for that though. Because that's growth. You're not just saying like, oh, I didn't think Chris was good 2 years ago, so I'm gonna stick to it.
He improved.
It does, like you say it takes an emotional maturity. I do actually give you credit for that. Because it's obviously it's never easy admitting that you're wrong. But
I was wrong.
That's what it comes down to. I respect that. So I give you credit for that. So the Bucks did not attempt a free throw from 4:33 mark in the third quarter through the rest of the game. Boston, in that same amount of time, the last 16 minutes of the game, attempted 17 free throws. And Boston thought the officiating was lopsided in Milwaukee's favor.
I know. Isn't that the funniest shit of all time?
That was ridiculous. Oh, Giannis just bulldozes his way into the paint all the time. It's like, it's not an offensive foul to be stronger than the person you're playing against.
Do you know what I always say to that? Dude, you literally have 2 people guarding him. Do you think he's not getting fouled at all? Do you think you're playing perfect defense every possession? So, because he runs into you once in a while. He does. He plays football out there sometimes, let's be honest.
Yeah, sometimes.
He's like a running back on the goal line sometimes. But I almost has to, bro, because he know he's getting 2-3 people throwing at him. And Horford is not small either. So I don't want to hear no excuses for that.
Horford is strong.
And so is Williams, dude. By the way, Williams,
he's a low center of gravity.
Bro, but he is fucking solid. Like, all the way through. He is a solid dude. You don't just run past him.
Yeah.
I actually agreed when Hubie Brown said that.
That's why when Giannis goes into the lane, I had a Boston fan tell me that Giannis jumped into him to knock him down to get that offensive foul call. I'm like, really? So you think Grant Williams just takes all this contact all game and then just all of a sudden falls like a napkin in the wind?
Exactly, dude. That's the thing that bothers me, too. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing I respect about Giannis, too. We never really see him flop and do that kind of stuff because he has the mantra of, like, listen, I'm big and I'm strong. That's why he gets dunked on once in a while, too, because he tries to block everything.
Yeah.
But I respect that more than you flopping.
If he got dunked on 99 times out of 100 and blocked a shot on the 100th time, instantly worth getting dunked on the other 99. Because guys are getting those 2 points anyways, whether you try to contest them or not. But if you can stop them from scoring points at any time, that's better than a wide open dunk.
Hey, he gets blocks when they're necessary, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Just like does. When Drew Holiday gets his steals, Giannis gets his blocks in big time moments, dude.
Yeah, Isaac. The MVP thing. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it because I do think Jokic deserved it. Yeah. But what I will say is I think Giannis should be finishing second and Embiid should have finished third. But, it is what it is, and voter fatigue is a real thing. But
he said, I don't know what else I have to do, man. Maybe don't lose to the Heat, you fucking punk.
So, last thing that I want to say is Bucks shot 17 free throws. Yes, Shaq. That's another, fair point, too, is when somebody's talking about Giannis he's just bulldozing, he's just whatever. Shaquille O'Neal was stronger than everybody he played against. He's a top 10 player all time, depending on who you ask.
I might put him top 10.
I'd probably have him in that 8 to 10 range.
In a conversation with centers, that's a good bonus episode.
He's probably top 3.
He's got to be top 3.
He's probably top.
Kareem,
probably.
Wilt, Shaq, Bill Russell. I mean, there's so many. Hakeem.
Hakeem Olajuwon is. Damn. All right. Mm-hmm. Top 5 positions. We're gonna end up racking up all these bonus episodes. We're gonna have to start getting cranking these bad boys out. Which, while we're on the
So-
subject, next Friday we're doing our next bonus episode. That's going to be the Packers trivia / drinking game. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Oh, Anthony, we're going to get to Game 5. I got one more thing on Game 4. The Bucks were 40 of 99 on field goals. That is a big yikes.
Yeah.
And they still won. So that's my last thing on Game 3. So let's switch to Game 4 and get it out of the way because we got to talk about it.
All right, let's make this one fast. Giannis had 34, 18, and 5. He tried to carry. He really tried everything he could, in my opinion. Brook Lopez had 17 to 7, so I thought he played well. It was nice to see him scoring. West with 12 points. Pat with 11. Hit 3 3-pointers again. Bobby Portis, I don't know why he didn't play as much as he did. That really bothered me. And Drew Holiday was horrible efficiency. 5 of 22 was horrible. But he made up for it the next game because we know the future, obviously. But
Right.
you know, the thing that really sucked is you let Horford get into a rhythm, and then all of a sudden he gets that transition 3, and he's already got a feel for the ball. So when he got the ball, before he even shot it, I was like, oh shit, man, this motherfucker's going in, you know. And it is what it is. They dropped one at home that they shouldn't have dropped, and Giannis was gassed. This was the game where everybody started being like, Bud needs to work on his rotation.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So this was the fourth quarter, Mike. Like I said, the Mike McCarthy philosophy here, where you're going into the fourth quarter with a 7-point lead, and it seemed like they were just trying to protect the lead. It took less than 2 minutes before the lead was down to 2 points. That was it. 2 minutes and the lead was down to 2. And then it took until, let's see, 8:30 mark. The game was tied. They're still leaving Horford open. Isaac, I don't know that I necessarily agree that the Bucks are vulnerable when the other team dictates the pace. It's just that the Celtics really excel at getting into transition. That's how they beat Brooklyn, by constantly getting in transition. Because they, even after a made basket, they're getting the ball in super quick and trying to get a secondary transition break. So that's what Boston excels at is getting in transition.
Do you know what Bud's counterpunch to that was last night? Crashing the offensive boards because they didn't have as many bodies on the defensive boards. So we crashed the offensive boards really, really hard last night, and that's what in my opinion, that's what won us the game last night. But we'll get there.
That's a really good point. And it gave Boston a couple leak outs. Like they almost got a layup right before halftime. Almost. It was like a couple fingertips left on the ball. But I would take 10 offensive rebounds, and in exchange for 1 leak out. Anthony, I'm going to say a couple things about George Hill. So Game 4 was the game where everybody started complaining about George Hill. So why is George Hill playing? Why is George Hill playing? Jason Tatum was actually 2 for 7 when guarded by George Hill in Game 4, and then in Game 5 he only played 12 minutes. So I mean, it didn't end up really being that consequential, and where it goes from there is we'll see. But
I just don't understand. About this George Hill thing. I don't understand how Javon Carter can have a plus 25 and then not see the floor the rest of the series. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So basically, what I boiled it down to is that passing, George Hill is better. Dribbling, George Hill is better. Size, George Hill is bigger. And playoff experience, George Hill has more.
But here's my counter. Here's my counter. You saw last night what happened when they started pressuring Marcus Smart. He started turning the ball over a little bit, right? Started rushing. What is Javon Carter great at? Ball pressure. He can full court pressure on him and make him work. At the very least, the thing that you're going to do is you're going to mess up their timing. Because the reason, Isaac's talking about they can slow it down in half court, the reason they can get away with that is because they have multiple shooters, multiple big-time long shooters on both sides. And then Horford can hit and Williams every once in a while. But if you mess with that timing, they can't run certain plays. So that's why I would like Carter. I'm not saying he has to play over Hill, but a little bit here and there wouldn't be a bad idea.
I liked Javon Carter on Jaylen Brown in Game 1. Okay. Jaylen Brown he's not as strong as a Marcus Smart, whereas Marcus Smart is much stronger than Javon Carter. But Jaylen Brown is a little bit more of a finesse guy than a punch guy. I really like seeing Javon Carter defend Jaylen Brown on the ball. But what the other part of that is that Boston started setting a shit ton of screens to get switches and switches and switches. And I'm going to bring that up again when we talk about Game 5. But like you said, Bucks were just gassed at the end of this game. Boston was 15 of 18 on field goals in the fourth quarter. And, fourth quarter, Giannis was 3 for 7 on field goals, had 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter, and George Hill was 0 of 5 on field goals in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So this other one, the other thing that you said with Bobby Portis was, after this game, I was wanting... Budenholzer said he had Bobby Portis out because he was adjusting to Boston's size. Boston went small without Robert Williams in the game, so Budenholzer kept Bobby Portis on the bench. So what I was hoping to see was make Boston adjust to Milwaukee's size, not making Milwaukee adjust to Boston's size. So that happened a little bit more in Game 5, so if you'd like to, we can switch to Game 5 and talk about that game.
Yeah, I just want to point out that after Game 4, after the tough loss, Bobby Portis was in the gym putting up shots, putting in that work, and that's something that was encouraging to me. After a tough loss, seeing a guy like willing to work and be like, okay, listen, this is what we're gonna do. Wisco Ball, what's going on?
Oh, Wisco Ball's in here. I'm trying to give a little spoiler alert in here.
No. What up, brother?
Oh, Wisco Bros. That's us. All right. Wisco Bros. I haven't gone by that. That's a new one.
I like that one.
Let's talk about Game 5, because there's a lot here in this one. Oh, no, Wisco Ball. That's not how we roll. We don't talk about just the last 2 minutes. We're going to talk about the whole game.
Well, we have to talk about the beginning of the game to get to the phenomenal ending of this game, because everything leading up to it makes the ending so much sweeter, man.
Yes.
So Giannis, 40, 11, and 3. This was Giannis's 31st 30-point playoff game, which passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for most in Bucks history.
I got another one on Giannis for you, but I'll say.
I know, dude. There were so many stats from this game. It was just like, okay. Anyways, Drew Holiday, 24, 8, and 8. Obviously, he had the steal and the block in the last 10 seconds. He's the first player in the last 25 postseasons to have a steal and a block. Sorry, I heard that one, and that one's one of my favorites of all time. I'll let you have the rest. But he played big down the stretch. And, I was just talking to Tyler about this before we went live. People were complaining in Bucks groups about, like, oh, I was done with Drew, done with this. It's like, why don't you watch the entire game? Maybe something crazy is going to happen, man. This is the NBA. Crazy shit happens all the time.
I mean, we just talked about it in Games 3 and 4, how Boston go away after 3 quarters because they know leads can be blown because it's happened to them.
Dude, just like last year, I feel like the 2 best teams in the East are playing in the second round again.
Yep. Strongly agree.
With the Nets and the Bucks last year, the Bucks and the Celtics this year. But let's keep on track here. Brook Lopez, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. But he was big down low. He was boxing out well. That's what I saw. He was big down there. Wes Matthews, 3 3-pointers again, and some really, really tough ones. If anybody complains about Wes Matthews anymore, please stop. He does everything. He does everything he's asked to do. He does everything. Everything he's asked to do. Pat Connaughton, 3 3-pointers again. 2 massive threes in the fourth quarter. Yeah, dude. That one he did in front of the Boston bench and did that, I was like...
With a hand in his face.
Bobby Portis, 14 and 15. Had the biggest offensive rebound of the whole game.
Yep.
I mean... And the reason, so I said it before, the reason I think that the offensive rebounds won us the game, they had 17 offensive rebounds for the entire game. They had 7 in the fourth quarter. 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. 1 was the 3-pointer. 1 ended up as the Bobby Portis tip-in, so those are 2 massive plays. And I think 1 ended up in the Drew Holiday 3 too, right? Bobby Portis, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
The 2 that I remember.
Yeah, well, Giannis, 16 of 27. That's just crazy. Our buddy Isaac talked about it before. He was bullying Horford. Yeah, Giannis answered the call. and I texted my cousin before this game, and I was like, today it's time for Giannis to earn his lunch money, because this is these are the kind of games that all-time great players, they go on the road and they win these games. Giannis put up 40 on the road in Boston, the team that's looked at as the best defense, one of the most complete teams in the league. And Giannis went out there and he got a freaking win. I mean, I know Drew Holiday had a little something to do with it, but
a little bit.
I'm just saying, Giannis held us in that game when we were down by 14, down by 11, down by 9, down by 6. And it was getting so frustrating watching this game because every time the Bucks kept cutting it to 2 and 4, they just kept pushing it back. And I told you this, after that Horford putback with 2 minutes left, I was like, fuck. I was like, that's game. I felt like that was game. I really did. A dagger. Because they had the crowd back into it.
Yep.
They were all hyped up. I mean, and I had that same feeling after they did that lob to Tatum from Brown. And I was like, oh my God, man, like what is happening right now? And then, we talked about all the crazy, stupid shots they were making, like the Jaylen Brown fade 3. You said Pritchard's fade. I was like, oh my God. And then Tatum had one where it bounced around every part of the rim in the entire state of Massachusetts and went in somehow. And I'm like, I was like, there's no way we're gonna win this game. It felt like a hump game. Like we couldn't get over the hump.
Yeah, and it's Boston's like third consecutive quarter of making like 80% of their field goals in the fourth quarter.
Crazy, dude.
So, like Jake said, to get to that point, a lot had to happen before that. So, what I liked seeing was Drew got off to a good start. Bucks made 3 threes early, and then Budenholzer made some really early substitutions. Isaac, I did see that. That Jerry Jeudy got arrested.
I didn't see that.
So, 3 threes early. Drew off to a good start. Bucks going big, putting Bobby and Brook Lopez on the floor at the same time. Pat Connaughton came in and stayed hot. Budenholzer made those substitutions of Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton like 4.5 minutes into the game. He made really early substitutions, and he kept that going. So Drew Holiday was being aggressive. He's finding Giannis. He's finding Grayson Allen. He had a really nice pass to Grayson Allen from like half court. Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum was waiting for Grayson Allen to go up to the three-point line, and Drew Holiday just fired a rifle pass right down the middle of the lane, and Grayson Allen had a wide-open layup.
And it looked like Allen wasn't even ready for it.
He was. He was just anticipating to go through his motions, and Drew had the court vision and just fired it through because Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, I don't remember which one it was.
I think it was Brown, actually.
Yeah, but he's kind of just trying to cheat and give himself a couple extra steps to get ready for Grayson Allen to come around the screen and go up to the three-point line. And Grayson Allen got a layup out of it. So this is where turnovers. This is like Jake said, it felt like Game 5 was going to be an early turnover game. 4 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. So the nice thing to see with the first quarter was Bobby Portis equaled his entire point total from Game 4 in the first quarter. And Drew Holiday finished first quarter with 9 points and 3 assists. Second quarter, more turnovers. I felt like I was going to have a stroke every time the Bucks turned the ball over because it just kept happening again and again and again and again. And then bad shot selection on top of it, and they started to dig themselves a hole. They had 5 consecutive empty possessions. Boston went on a 7-0 run. Next thing, you got to do better defending ball screens. They needed to stop going under. You can't go under screens on Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Derek White. Marcus Smart, you can go under screens all day. We'll live with him shooting threes. And then, of course, the second quarter, Daniel Tice makes every single shot he shoots.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I wouldn't count on that happening again if I'm Boston, but whatever. I mean, if it means taking the ball out of Horford's hands, sure. But then, of course, he goes 5 for 5. So
all right.
They get that for them, too. So bad shots and more turnovers resulted in an 11-0 run for Boston. And then Giannis started being aggressive. He scored 15 points in the second quarter. The Bucks got the lead down to double digits. Giannis was 7 for 7 on field goals in the second quarter. The rest of the team was 2 for 12.
Yeah.
Including 0 for 6 behind the three-point line in the second quarter. That's why I said guys got to hit their open shots. That's what it comes down to. Hitting open shots.
Just wait till the fourth.
Third quarter, I felt Giannis needs to get his mojo back at the free throw line. Like I said, the Bucks last year when they went on their championship run, Giannis was making like 17 out of 21 free throws and like 15 of 18 and 16 of 16, and he was having really great, crazy good free throw games. And then he tosses in like a 6 for 11, and he had one 9 for 12 game in game 3, I think. He was 9 for 12 on free throws, but I just feel like he's got to get more consistently making them. I will say, if Giannis doesn't miss his second free throw at the end of the game and Bobby Portis gets the rebound that gives us the lead, if he makes that free throw, this outcome might not have been the same.
Yeah.
Giannis bringing back the dad jokes, that might be a regular season thing. In the regular season, I think the postseason, that's more of a focus thing. I think that's where Giannis kind of flips his switch. So, moving back to the third quarter, Bucks need to string some stops together so they can go on runs. Basketball's a game of runs. It's like every time you start to build some momentum and then Boston makes a shot, you basically go back to start and you have to start from square one. And then you gotta stop taking bad shots. And then they get to a point where you start trading baskets and still not getting stops. Trading baskets isn't going to help you come back. It became the third quarter of Jaylen Brown. I think he had 16 points in the third quarter.
That's when he
Bucks
was making his fadeaway threes.
Like the Bucks weren't necessarily playing bad defense, but freaking Jaylen Brown took the third quarter over. Fourth quarter, more of the same. Boston, like I said, hitting like 80% of their field goals in the fourth quarters. Can't get stops, taking bad shots. And I texted you that it feels like the Bucks were like mentally tired in this game as well as physically tired. So it looked like everybody like kind of just had like tired faces on. It felt like they had no fire, no energy, no confidence. It feels like they had kind of just been like, all right, well, we'll get them at home. And then Boston started 5 for 5 on field goals in the fourth quarter. Okay. So, and that's when Pat Connaughton kept the Bucks in the game. Jake mentioned the 2 threes that Pat Connaughton hit. Wesley Matthews and Pat Connaughton doing work on both ends. It's become a consistent problem because it happened in game 2 when they lost to the Bulls in the first series, and it happened a couple times in this series, and it was the rebound that Jake is talking about where Horford got the tip slam. Late offensive rebounds is becoming an issue for the Bucks.
Everybody was standing and watching.
Offensive rebounds. That's where, it'd be nice to have Brook Lopez on the floor because that's what he does. But I like that Budenholzer opted for Bobby Portis because what he does, having Bobby Portis in there instead of Brook Lopez plays that drop coverage because he's not fast. Bobby Portis is faster. He's more athletic. Bobby Portis gets out and hedges those screens, makes the ball screen or the ball handler go closer to half court, 2 steps farther away from the 3-point line, and then guys can get back to their man. And then Bobby Portis has the speed to recover to Horford or Grant Williams or whoever it was that he was guarding. So, though Bobby didn't start, he ended up playing 28 minutes to Brook Lopez's 20.
That's fine with me. That is a great ratio, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, even if you went like 24-24, and Bobby's playing the same amount of minutes as Brook.
Bobby's a guy that can get on fire. So him playing even amount of minutes with Brook, where you can have that defense on the court with Brook, and then the offense on the court with Bobby. I mean, that's a great ratio. And I have no idea.
They should roll with them at the same time sometimes.
They should. Why not? Why not do that?
They did in the first quarter. I like the idea of putting them both on the floor with Giannis, Drew, and either Pat or Grayson or Wesley Matthews.
Now, when we get Chris back, we put Chris at the 2. Wow, that's massive.
Dude, I would love to see a lineup of Drew, Chris, Giannis, Bobby, and Brook. That is huge. Massive.
That is huge, boy.
That is disgusting. Skip Bayless is a fucking clown.
I'm not gonna say what I really want to say about Skip Bayless, but just know.
Tim,
just
hold
know.
that thought for 2 more minutes so we can finish talking about Game 5, and then I'm gonna address Skip Bayless.
Okay.
So, Giannis is literally bleeding from the eye, hits a 3 to cut the lead to 3. Drew hits a 3 to tie, 37 seconds left. Now, Wisco Ball is commenting we should only talk about the last 2 minutes. You can get down to even the last minute and 34 seconds. The Bucks in the last minute and 34 seconds outscored the Celtics 11-2.
That's how it's done. That's how you steal one on the road.
Oh, that is so good. You're down 14 points with 10 minutes to go. You're down 11 points with 8 minutes to go, and you take the last minute and a half and go on an 11-2 run.
Is Ready in the comments? What?
Giannis's uncle is Ready in the comments. I don't know.
That one went over my head. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. So then Drew showed off his All-NBA defense twice.
Yeah.
And that's basically what ended it. I was listening to Ted Davis talk about it on the radio today, and Drew having the wherewithal to recognize that, hey, Marcus Smart's going at Pat Connaughton. He's not looking to pass. He's looking to score. And he tries to score, and Drew Holiday takes one step down, blocks the shot, collects the shot, and then throws it off of Smart's chest, and Bucks get the possession. That's such a... Like, that happens so fast, but Drew Holiday he's got the instincts to be able to make that play.
Yeah.
And then obviously he stripped Marcus Smart in the last play, and then he starfished and flopped and whatever. But
I couldn't believe he jumped that high from the ball being stolen. Like, what?
Yeah, you didn't see the trampolini jump off?
I was like, what, bro? Like, what are you jumping for? Whatever.
Like, I don't know where that, like, even if there was a foul of error, like, that's not the direction that a person would go.
Yeah, for real. Like, you're not going to go straight up in the air.
Ball down, and Marcus Smart went straight up.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Whatever. Hey, he doesn't flop, though.
No, he doesn't flop. Oh, bro. I was in that Celtics group going fucking berserk today. Oh. Those guys have to hate me right now. They have to hate me right now. No, I'm not kicked out yet. They're going to let me in there. Apparently, they're going to wait until they lose in 6 games.
Yeah.
Because after that, I'm going to get real disrespectful. Dude, you should see some of the stuff they talk about Giannis. I was like, there's no way, bro.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. Twitter is just as bad, honestly. It's bad. It's complaining about the refs and, no, Giannis is just a bulldozer. Whatever. All right. So, you mentioned already Giannis is 40-11. 16 for 27 on field goals, 6 of 10 at the free throw line, and 7 turnovers. That's the thing that got me, because 2 of the turnovers that he had, where he just dribbling the ball, looking at the ball, and it just rolls into Al Horford's hands.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, 24, 8-8. He's 9 for 24 on field goals. That's meh. It's like 38%. And he was 4 for 7 on threes, though. So it's nice to see Drew Holiday elevating back to the 3-point efficiency that he had going during the regular season, because Drew shot so well during the regular season. So it's nice to see him getting back to that. And only 2 turnovers. He had them. I think they were probably both in the first half, because it felt like he was ended up having a bunch, but it finished with only 2 turnovers, which is encouraging. And then Bobby Portis, you mentioned already, the 14-15. What's up, Simon? Hey, he's listening to the kids from Wisconsin.
I'm not a kid, but I'll take it.
Can you spell out how to pronounce your name?
Yeah, because
like when I do my name pronunciations, I always get them from YouTube. But like, unless your name pronunciation is on YouTube and I can look it up. But if you're watching live, I'd love to say it live and say thank you for watching. So,
wow, that's a name.
I know. It took a long time to say Giannis Antetokounmpo.
It did. Now we're teaching our little ones to say it.
I know, right? Both my girls are pretty good at saying it, I got to say. Bobby Portis, you mentioned the 14 points, 15 rebounds. He was 4 of 14 on field goals, which is not great, but he made the ones that counted. And he was 6 for 6 at the free throw line, which Bobby Portis deserves credit for. 6 for 6 on the free throw line. His 15 rebounds, 7 of them were offensive rebounds. 7 offensive rebounds for Bobby Portis.
He was going crazy on the old boards, dude.
That's big boy stuff right there.
Yes.
7 offensive rebounds.
That's why we love
finish
Bobby.
with that many in a game. He did it himself.
Boston had 5.
I rest my case. Your Honor.
Yep. Boston had 5.
Pat Connaughton, 13 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 3 of 5 behind the 3-point line. And then Grayson Allen. So Grayson Allen didn't light the scoreboard on fire. He only had 8 points. He had 2 rebounds, but he finished second on the team with 5 assists.
Bro, he had the one crazy lay, though. The and one?
Yes, the and one, yep.
That was nasty. Bro, he tipped it in with the offhand in the air. I was like, whoa. And then he had that one where he looked like Prime MJ. He missed it. But he looked like Prime MJ freaking flinging the ball.
Dude, Giannis did that. I think that was that game 4? The Giannis had one where he went like this, went all the way up, under, around, and spun it in.
I think, yeah. Giannis actually finished it because his wingspan goes for 900 feet. But
right.
I'm just impressed that Grayson has that athleticism, to be honest.
He has that athleticism. A lot of people don't know that, but he has it.
Because people are too busy worrying about what he did freaking 8 years ago. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
I've moved on. He's on our side now.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm not knocking down lids to buy his jersey or anything, but
right,
he's
I
on
agree.
our side now. Giannis did whatever he wanted against Horford last night. Like, literally anything he wanted. Giannis got around him, through him, over him, like, get left-handed layups. He got everything he wanted last night. And I got a little bit more about Giannis when we get that far. So, like, the thing with Grayson is that, like, he catches the ball on the three-point line, and he sets a pump fake, and he dribble drives, and then finds open guys. So that's why I wanted to point that out, because he's been doing that he's not useless on offense because he only scored 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
He also had the 5 assists, second on the team. So now hopefully, here we go. We're going to go back to this because I want to talk about game 4 because this is the one where Jason Tatum dunked on Giannis and they went and looked at it to see if it was flagrant. They ended up not ruling it flagrant because it also happened in this game where Bobby Portis inadvertently hit Grant Williams in the elbow or hit him in the eye with his elbow. That's not the injury that Robert Williams has missed 2 games with now, but got him an elbow and it happened. Skip Bayless is on Twitter, all caps. Giannis is dirty. He needs to be kicked out of the game. Bobby Portis is dirty. He needs to be kicked out of the game. I posted the picture of Pat Connaughton from last year's playoffs when he got elbowed by Joe Harris, was bleeding from the eye, and no foul call. And then I posted Bobby Portis' picture from the Bulls series where he got elbowed in Tristan Thompson, and he was bleeding from the eye. Literally blood in his eye, and no foul calls on either of those. But you're begging for guys to be kicked out of the league? Like, holy hell. Show that you are a worse sports reporter, please. So, thank you for bringing this up, Tim. Skip Bayless is... this is going to sound really harsh, but I truly feel this way. That Skip Bayless is a disgrace to sports media. He is everything. He embodies everything that is the worst about the shock jock media and clickbait sports media. Skip Bayless is the embodiment of that.
And he's a Cowboys fan, so screw that guy.
All caps, Bobby Portis should be ejected from this game. It's like, where was this outrage when Tristan Thompson elbowed Bobby Portis 2 weeks ago?
Do you want to know how bad Skip Bayless is? He said that Johnny Manziel was going to be bigger than LeBron in Cleveland. Tell me you're stupid without telling me you're stupid. Seriously. That's serious. Like LeBron James, one of the greatest players in NBA history. Even at the point when Johnny got drafted, LeBron was looked at as one of the best ever. Hell nah. He follows one person on Twitter, and that's Romo. Really? I didn't know that, actually.
I'm surprised it's not Brady, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, yeah, God. Yeah. Again, I can't say what I really want to say because I want to get inappropriate, but good Lord.
Basically what Skip Bayless is, it's not that he likes to hate on the Bucks, is he just hates all of Wisconsin.
Yeah, he does. He hates Aaron Rodgers, too.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of media hates Rodgers, so I can deal with that. But to hate the Bucks, to hate Giannis, now I know you just hate us. How do you hate Giannis? Nobody
Yeah.
hates Giannis.
Exactly. Giannis is the best, which he actually has. They actually have a movie coming about Giannis. Disney Plus it's going to be on Disney Plus at the end of June. Rise is the Antetokounmpo story, I think it's called. Um, so, and yes, Will Drew did make up for it in the end. His turnovers were ugly. He did only finish with 2 turnovers, which is good. And he made up for his poor shooting late, making the ones that counted, and then making the 2 huge defensive plays. And can't find the tweet. He must have deleted it. That sounds on brand for Skip Bayless, is deleting tweets of dumb shit that he says. I might have him screenshotted somewhere because, like,
Do you
like
think he's deleted more or not, or saved more tweets? Because he says a lot of dumb shit, in my opinion, man.
I'm willing to bet that he's put out more tweets than he's deleted, but because he tweets a lot, but
He does.
God, he says some dumb stuff. And
He's
yes,
like-
I do agree that some of his stuff is to mess with Shannon, but that's absolutely not the way that Jake and I approach our show, and never will. We never will approach this where, like, hey, what do you think about this? Okay, that's what you think. I'm going to take the opposite just so we can argue on TV.
Yeah, why would we do that?
And it's honestly, it's not a positive environment for anybody. Like, oh yeah, what do you do? Like, I argue with a guy for a living.
And he is also opposite from our views of people that react to stuff that happens immediately at that moment. Like, why don't you let shit play out and then we'll go from there. Like, don't just react to it immediately, because then you just look like a jackass. Like all those people I said in the Bucks groups that are like, oh, I was done with Drew. And then Drew has a block and a steal, seals the game for us, basically. Well, he did. And then, you end up being like, wow, I shouldn't have said that about Drew Holiday. I learned my lesson with Chris Middleton, okay? Learn from me, people.
So
yeah, Nick Wright does too, yeah. I do like Nick Wright, though, on some things. But he goes a little bit too far sometimes. And sometimes I do think Nick Wright is trolling a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, when he goes a little far.
But yeah, I do feel that Skip Bayless just says what he says strictly to create drama. And that's not ever, the way that Jake and I approach stuff. It's not ever the way that we approach it. It's always gonna be, let's say the Bucks had lost last night. It's never gonna be, oh, the Bucks lost. All hope is lost because the Bucks lost. It's going to be, what can the Bucks do to overcome? It's not over until it's over. And that's, Simon, that's exactly what it is. It's the people aren't patient. And unfortunately, with Wisconsin sports, people are spoiled. If you've just been paying attention to the last 5 years of Wisconsin sports and see the Packers have been in 2 NFC championship games, been in 4 consecutive playoffs. The Brewers have been in 4 consecutive playoffs. The Bucks have been in 4 consecutive playoffs, including a championship. The Brewers were 1 game away from the World Series in 2018. Like I said, the Packers were in 2 NFC championship games. Like, there's high expectations, but people need to not ride too high and too low. The roller coaster, it's all up and down. What Jake and I would encourage you to do is just stay in the middle there. Recognize, like, hey, the Bucks didn't do something well. Maybe the Celtics did something really well that caused the Bucks to lose that game. Like I mentioned, the Celtics shot like 80% on field goals in the last 3 games in the fourth quarter, it felt like. I'm not going to say, the Bucks played shitty defense for 3 straight fourth quarters. Yeah. It did feel like that at times, but it wasn't like that the entire time. So Jake and I are always going to try to take things from a positive mindset and a positive perspective and look at ways that things can improve and not get down on our teams and bash players because we don't like them personally or whatever it is. So if you like the the shock jock sports media that they call it, like, to each their own, but that's never going to be the way Jake and I approach stuff. We're never going to sit here and say, oh, the Bucks suck because they lost 1 game. Like, teams are in the playoffs for a reason. Boston is actually the higher seed. So, Boston is a good team. It's not like the Bucks are losing a series to the Pistons or something like that. We're in the middle of a rebuild.
Celtics are, like, legit good. Like, they're a really, really well-oiled machine. Like, they have a good coach.
Yes.
They have two very young, very good shot makers. Brown and Tatum can score. As a duo, they can score with anybody. And then you add in a Marcus Smart who actually does play. He plays good defense. I just don't like when he flops. It's the same thing with Harden. Like I respected James Harden's offensive game when he was with Houston. Like he was great. I just didn't like the flopping and shit. That got to me. And then you add in Horford. He's a great pro. Robert Williams is a really, really young, up-and-coming player. They got some players over there, man. The Celtics are no joke. Like, this is a good team that the Bucks are playing. Yeah,
you said it.
They will.
You said it, and Josh is echoing it in the comments that it feels like this is the second straight year where the toughest Eastern Conference matchup is coming in the second round.
I agree.
And that's like I said this before. I think I said this before Game 4 that I believe that the winner of this series is going to the finals.
Yep.
And I still believe that. Like, if Boston somehow finds a way to come back and win Games 6 and 7, like, they're going to the finals. Miami or Philadelphia is not stopping them.
No.
If the Bucks win tomorrow night and have 3 or 4 days off before having to play Game 1 against Miami or Philadelphia, like, neither one of those teams are beating the Bucks in a 7-game series.
I don't think so either. I mean, Miami will give us a little bit of difficulties here and there, and they might beat us a game or two maybe, but I don't think that they could beat us 4 times in 7 games. I just don't see it.
Tim, the with the negativity thing, that's an underlying part of why we do the show the way that we do, is that we'd like to make a positive impact for people, to help them be more optimistic, not just the way that they approach, the way they look at their sports teams, but hopefully by extension in their lives.
Oh man,
do the calculations with the time of Greece. All right,
what time is it there right now? Let's start with that.
Let me see what I can do.
I hate when the Bucks.
Let's see. The Bucks. Let's see. It is
gonna
be.
Josh, the thing about that,
26 hours.
If you ask your dad would probably know this. Back in like the 90s and the 2000s, we were always playing Philly and Boston in the playoffs, in the 80s too, and we could never get past them. So it is actually a nice change of pace that we are the ones winning the playoff series. I will say that.
Simon, the pessimism, as long as you're logical, and in that way you can take the logic, flip the perspective around, and find out how you can improve, or what the next step is, and have optimism for the future. Jake and I've been trying to think about this a lot lately, how to take optimism from losses, and eventually it's going to happen where the Bucks, the Packers, the Brewers, the Badgers are just going to be bad for a while. It's going to happen at some point. Trying to think about how to positively, optimistically look at a rebuilding team. It very well could be the Badgers basketball team this year. It's going to be Chucky Hepburn's going to be running the show, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a guaranteed 25-win season. And yes, you can at least have the conversation about it. And as long as there's respect involved, that's something to be optimistic about. If I can have a respectful conversation with a Boston fan, at least I can come out of it saying, well, I actually respect what they said. It's like my relationship with the St. Louis Cardinals. As we flip to baseball here, we
got to do our power
get to it. Oh, I know. And I'm going to talk about tomorrow a little bit too. But if going into baseball, I don't like the Cardinals at all, but I respect the Cardinals. When it came to Kobe Bryant, for example, I didn't like Kobe Bryant as a player. I liked him more after, but I respected Kobe Bryant even though I didn't like him.
Same. I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan growing up, but after he was done, I agree with you. I looked back on his stuff and I was like, damn, Kobe was sick, man. He was making crazy shots and he was doing crazy stuff, and his mindset, as I got older, I think I appreciated that more. When I was younger, I didn't really appreciate it as much.
Okay, so the game is 26 hours from now. So I'm not sure what time it is in Greece right now, but it's going to be in 26 hours is when the tip-off is going to be.
Time is it in Greece? All right, let's see.
Greece is 8 hours ahead, so...
It's 12:26 a.m.
Yep. So 26 hours from now, it's going to be 2 a.m. Greece time?
Oh.
So either stay up late or wake up super early or Stay up late and take a nap would be my suggestion.
I
Stay up till
agree
like
with
midnight, take like an hour and a half nap. You wake up around 1:30. That would be my suggestion.
Start cranking some Milwaukee's best, huh? Just kidding.
Get some caffeine, some coffee going. And then once the Bucks game starts, that'll be all the energy you need. Matt, when the rebuilding period happens with the Packers, Jake and I are going to have some work to do in keeping people positive.
Yeah.
That's going to be some work when it comes to that.
Might not be able to save everybody, but we're gonna try.
Women and children first. Oh man, that's going to be. I don't look forward to it, but I do. It'll be a new challenge for Jake and I. But look forward to that.
Sundays will kind of suck, won't lie, but we'll get there.
All right, let's do our power pair from games 3, 4, and 5.
Oh god. Okay. All right. I sure hope he doesn't, Isaac. That's a sad life.
I hope not.
So power pair, my first one. I'm assuming Tyler has him. It's Giannis. Yep. I mean, the guy's averaging 38 and a half points, 13 and a half rebounds, 5.3 assists, and shooting 52% over the last 3 games. And that's all while dealing with 2 and 3 defenders. Yikes.
The man is 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So
dude is unstoppable.
The one thing that Jake left out when he was talking about his playoffs, when he mentioned that Giannis had his 41st 30-10 game playoffs?
31st.
31st?
Yeah.
Was also his 6th 40-10 playoff game. Giannis has scored 40 points with 10 rebounds in the playoffs 6 times.
I'm pretty sure he has more 40-point playoff games than Steph Curry now.
I think he's tied. Is what I saw.
Is he tied now?
I thought he tied Steph Curry for 40 points.
I thought he tied him game 3, but I could be wrong.
Either way, he's got the same or potentially one more 40-point game than Steph Curry, which is nuts.
Yeah, which is nuts. The greatest shooter of all time.
And he has 2 titles.
Yeah. And 2 MVPs.
That's true. He doesn't have a Finals MVP, though, which Giannis has. So.
Yes, sir.
Matt, on the group of 5 people and waiting. Good, you can keep yourselves awake. You can all keep each other awake, or you can sleep on a century, and you can each, 4 people can sleep, and one person stays awake, and then you just go in a circle. On the subject of Jordan Love, really quick, the sample size is this big. That's one of the other things that Jake and I want to get out of sports fandom is reacting to sample sizes this big, like people freaking out wanting to trade everybody after the Brewers lost the first 2 games of the season.
Oh, I'm sure lately they haven't been too happy.
Literally 162 games in the season, and 3 weeks later, the Brewers are like 7 games over 500. But we'll get there. So Jake already mentioned Giannis. I had Giannis as well. My other one is Drew Holiday. Averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, just shy of 7 assists. His efficiency, it leaves something to be desired, but Drew Holiday has been one of the best individual defenders in the entire postseason so far, and he showed it off why last night. He hit the 3 to tie the game, hit the block to seal the 1-point lead, and then got the steal, which allowed Boston to not even get a chance to attempt a 3 to try to tie the game.
And how Marcus Smart didn't see Tatum wide open, I will never know. I will never know. He got the Defensive Player of the Year award, and he was just like, this is my team. Like, bro, no. Sit your ass down.
It's like he plays point guard. He's like the starting point guard.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, if I'm starting as point guard, I need to dribble a shit ton.
Yeah. Well,
like,
Tatum does that more than anybody.
Yeah. All right, who's your other one?
My second one is Pat Connaughton. I just wanted to give some love to my boy Pat. He hits a lot of clutch shots. He does a lot for the Bucks overall. He's averaging 11 and 5 off the bench, shooting 48% from the field, and 47% behind the three-point line. 9 of 19 over these last 3 games. He's made some really, really big ones, man. He made 2 last night that were absolutely massive. The Bucks in the fourth quarter last night were 6 of 6 on three-pointers. Boston was 0 of 0. They didn't even attempt a three-pointer in the fourth quarter.
That surprises me because Tatum, it felt like Tatum was taking all of the threes.
He was short on all of them.
He finished 2 for 11 on threes last night.
He was short.
I can't believe he
hell
didn't
in the first
shoot.
half.
That's whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And yeah, Smart was probably too busy flopping. Did you see? Did you see the post that I made today, Matt? I feel like you probably did. I posted it was a live look of Marcus Smart, and it was just Magikarp from Pokemon where he's just flopping. Josh, to answer your question why they don't play Ibaka, part of the matchups is part of it, but the other part of it is he's been sick. So he was inactive for Game 4 with a non-COVID illness. Whether that's still affecting him or whether he's just there as insurance is probably a pretty similar reason why Javon Carter's not playing, even though there are, there's reasons for them to play. Ibaka has that experience, the playoff experience. He has a title with the Raptors in 2019. Mm-hmm. Simon said the Magikarp post made me laugh harder than it should have. That's 2 Pokemon memes that I made in the last week. Just full of them. But Ibaka, like I said, he's got that postseason playoff championship experience, and he's still not touching the floor. So when you're wondering why Javon Carter's not playing and George Hill is getting the minutes with the experience, like Ibaka's not playing either, and he's got that experience that Javon Carter doesn't have. So
that's true.
All right, that was your other one. So let me ask you this question, and then we'll switch from the Bucks. What do the Bucks have to do to close the series out tomorrow?
Don't turn the ball over.
Huh.
That one should be pretty freaking obvious. Continue using Giannis as a screener, because when he's used as a screener, he's already going to the rim, so that's an advantage for him. And we got to continue to crash the offensive boards. I'm really big on that because I really think that was one of the big reasons we won. I think if we do all those things, I know we're going to have Pat hitting some threes because that's what he does. If Grayson can add in, if Wes can add in, that's only going to be icing on the cake. And the crowd has to be loud tomorrow. We're going to need everybody that's going to the game to just bring that energy and bring that smack talk because Boston's going to bring it. They were loud last night, I won't lie.
Yep.
So those are my 3 things. Let's go finish this thing, man.
And for me, it's going to be getting off to an early start. Get out, get ahead early, suck out all of their energy. Make it seem after the first quarter that it's hopeless for them to win. I literally mean a mentality of beating them 100-0.
That would be great.
Come out of the gates like that. I really, really liked the early substitutions that Budenholzer made. Like I said, it was 4.5 minutes into the game. I would not at all be opposed to switching and putting Bobby Portis back in the starting lineup, whether Robert Williams plays or not. Putting Bobby Portis back in the starting lineup. I've looked. I haven't seen anything official about Middleton, whether he's going to play or not. My guess is with them up 3-2, if it's anywhere up in the air, if it's anything less than 70-30 chance that he has to play, don't play him.
Would you play him, yes or no?
Say he was 50-50. I wouldn't play him.
I'm sorry, that's the winning comment right there. That's the winning comment right there.
Smart look like you got thrown out by Uncle Phil.
That's the winning comment, bro. I wouldn't play him either. I would play it safe. You've proven you can win in Boston anyways. You've won 2 games. So if you lose one at home, that would really suck. But I feel like the Bucks can go in Boston and win again, which sounds crazy. But
being an elimination game for Boston, and like you said, they've shown that they can do it. Like I said, if he's anything less than 80%, I say no.
I agree. I think if you let him rest, you give him those 3-4 extra days like you're talking about, bring him ready for game 1, and I hope the 76ers win tonight, so that series goes 7, so it'll be even more rest. But yeah, either way, I would give him the extra rest.
I think what I saw for series is if Miami wins, they would start on the 15th, which would be Sunday. And if they lose the series, or if they lose, and then the game 7 the game would be on the 15th. If Philly wins, the game would be on the 15th, and then if they win again, it would be the 17th would be game 7. So they probably wouldn't start till next Wednesday. So the Bucks could potentially give themselves 5 days of rest if they win tomorrow, and that series between Philadelphia and Miami ends up going 7.
That would be massive, absolutely massive for this Bucks team right now. Giannis especially.
That way you could come in from Middleton coming back, and you have 5 days to work him back into your game plan.
He
Whereas
can get a practice in even.
If you try to rush him back tomorrow, you're also disrupting the game plan that you've had for this entire series.
Mm-hmm.
You've been game planning for Boston what we're going to do without Chris Middleton. You try to bring him back for a game 6. I'm not saying it's going to disrupt chemistry because that chemistry is there, it's built in, it is locked in. But everybody's mindset of, we're playing this series without Middleton. If you just wait, you bring him back for the next series, and then as you're moving forward, like Chris Middleton joins you, and you move forward together.
I will say this. I hope when Chris comes back that we don't just give him the ball and everybody's kind of like, oh, okay, Chris is back, so he can make all these shots.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just let's continue the ball movement.
Yep.
Let's continue the pick and rolls. Let's continue the open shots.
Yep.
Let's just play within the flow of the offense. Having Chris back will be great, though, because it'll just add to that, spreading of the floor.
I think it'll help in those fourth quarters where it feels like guys are gassed and, it seems like nobody can get a bucket. Like, Chris Middleton's the guy you go to in those situations.
Stud, dude. Drew Holiday hit a mid-range and Chris Middleton last night.
He did, in Marcus Smart's face. He didn't even
player of the year.
Yeah. He contested it. He was close, but good offense beats good defense every time. Every time.
Yep.
I've said it a whole bunch of times about multiple sports.
It's true.
All right. You ready to switch to baseball?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, from one Milwaukee team to the other. A lot less fun to talk about the Brewers, but it's still early in the season. We're barely a month in. So, let's start with the second game of the Reds series. The first Reds series.
Yeah. Good or lucky? I don't know. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That's what I've always heard. But this 18-4 game was crazy. Tellez had the game of his life right after I made him my player of the week.
Yep.
So I'm feeling like Wisco fanatic vibes are getting into this Milwaukee Brewers team here. Yeah, he went crazy. 8 RBIs, which was franchise tying, 2 home runs.
That was the franchise lead I saw. Franchise record.
Yeah, record, I meant. Carantini had 2 RBIs. Peterson had 1. Wong had 1. Yelich had 2. And McCutchen had 4. I'm at 4, and you're nowhere near the top guy in RBIs for the day. That's crazy to me. Wong also had a home run. Peralta, 5 innings pitched. 5 hits, 3 earned runs. 2 walks, 7 Ks. So it's a decent outing. I didn't really have to worry about much because he got 18 runs. If think about this, and I feel so bad for Corbin Burns. I don't know how many games it's going to take for Corbin Burns to get 18 runs of run support in one game. I'm being serious when I say that.
10?
It might. It seriously might. I feel so bad for Burns because he's out there going crazy.
Just on this specific thing about Burns not getting run support, it's the same last year as Brandon Woodruff not getting run support.
Yeah.
Your top pitcher in your rotation, other teams are going to try to line their top pitcher against your top pitcher, whether it means skipping a day off, whether it means having a 6-man rotation, whether it's just the way that the days kind of stack up. Cody's getting ahead of me on Yelich, but other teams are going to try to have their best pitcher match up against your best pitcher.
Mm-hmm. That's and he was a Cy Young Award winner, so
yeah,
pretty good.
So, I mean, yeah. Yelich is just .020 off his career average. He's got some other stuff going for his season so far this year I'm going to get into a little bit later. Spoiler alert. But like Jake said, Freddie Peralta had a solid outing. Wong started this game with a 12-pitch at-bat before hitting his home run.
That's crazy, bro.
12 pitches. Andrew McCutchen just keeps driving in RBI. Freddie came out better in the second inning, struck out the side. And then in the bottom of the third became the Rowdy Tellez game. Hit a grand slam. He absolutely smoked that grand slam. That ended up being the Wisco Fanatics play of the week, was Rowdy's grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
Reds scored 1 in the top of the 5th. Freddie finished the 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. Trevor Gott. He's been a really pleasant surprise this year. He's pitching almost perfectly so far. John Gustave and Hobie Milner each pitched a scoreless inning. Andrew McCutchen finished 4 for 5 in this game. And then my stat of the week ended up becoming Willie Adames and Rowdy Tellez became the first teammates since 1920 to have 4 hits, 3 extra base hits, and 7 RBI in the same season. And they both did it within 9 days.
That's crazy. That is crazy as hell. Wow.
Those were our power pair guys from last Wednesday. And then that's what they're doing.
I'm telling you, Wisco Fanatics energy is just going into that Milwaukee Brewers locker room right now, man.
So they got 4 more runs in the bottom of the 8th inning just by playing small ball. Rowdy Tellez 4 for 6, 8 RBI, insane, absolutely insane. I feel like Rowdy be an all-star. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
If Rowdy played even like half a smidge of defense, it would be a lot better for his favor. But I mean, like Rowdy, basically anywhere else is going to be like strictly a DH.
Yeah.
We've said it before, and we love Rowdy Tellez, and Jake loves Rowdy Tellez. But he's got the agility of a refrigerator.
He does, bro. He's built like a fridge, bro. He probably goes in the fridge a lot. There's nothing wrong with that. I go in my refrigerator a lot. But, it is what it is. He doesn't play defense.
All right. Let's go to the third game of that Reds series. Just
back-to-back double-digit scoring outings. That's crazy. This was the game where I was texting you. The Brewers took over the lead for most runs in the NL, and people were still complaining about the bats.
But they're doing it against AAA teams.
Yeah, whatever. Screw you,
Matt. You're setting the bar super low by saying more agile than Vogelback.
Does Vogelback even know what the word agility means? Seriously. But in this game, RBIs, Yelich had 2, Taylor had 1, Adames with 4 of them, Tellez with 1, Urias with 1, and Hira with 1. Home runs. We had a lot of home runs in this game. Yelly, Taylor both had 1. Adames had 2 of them. Urias and Hira both had 1. Hauser didn't have his best outing. Actually, last night he didn't have a very good outing either.
Yeah.
But I mean, he'll get back to it. I trust Adrian Hauser. Got pitched really well in this game, too. Back-to-back days with him looking really, really good. Boxberger, Williams looked good. And Milner, 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned. So when you break it down, the Brewers dominated the Reds as they should.
So this is the game where it feels like Yelich was really hitting the ball hard, even when he's making outs. Mm-hmm. Yelich had 7 consecutive at-bats of balls that he put in play, exited off the bat over 100 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
I got more for Yelich later, but this game...
Yelich has been on fire, dude, in my opinion. He's been playing really well.
Except for yesterday. But other than that, yes. Or not. Not yesterday. The day before yesterday was the game he had. We're getting ahead. It's the next Red series.
Sorry.
Another slow top of the first inning. 3 earned runs, all came with 2 outs. Just kind of becoming a theme with the Brewers is not getting that third out. I don't know what it is. And then there's some errors thrown in there, too. That happens in some of these games. All right.
You already see the trend for the playoffs, dude. You already see it.
I don't like it.
Just like the Packers special teams, bro. And we talked about the Bucks turnovers. This is the Brewers thing this year.
It better not be errors. That would irritate me.
Or getting the third out.
The third out, yeah. Or walks has been an issue.
Yeah.
But Luis Urias makes it the second day in a row with a leadoff home run, and then Yelich turns around and makes it back-to-back home runs to start the game off. So we got that going for us. Rowdy Tellez still scorching the ball. I think he missed 2 or 3 home runs last week by like this much.
Yeah.
Like 6 inches or less from the top of the fence. And I don't know if it's the ball or what, but what I've read is that once it starts getting warmer and the humidity goes up, then the ball might start flying farther. So it could be the cold temperatures that are causing the ball not to fly as far.
Hmm.
That's only one report that I read on the dead ball that they're using right now.
Okay.
Stop changing the freaking baseball. It's like, yeah, man, I agree. The errors and the walks will be cleaned up I don't feel the need to put a deadline on it because they're still going to have great pitching, and the hitting is getting there. It's getting going. Like they scored 21 runs in 3 games in this most recent series with the Reds, so I'm not super concerned about it. But it's something to keep an eye on for now, and it's costing them games here and there right now. The Brewers hit 6 home runs in this game. Ended up being Adrian Hauser, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 6 strikeouts. That's a okay game, I guess. But you get to Christian Yelich, he was 3 for 5 with a home run. Willie Adames was 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. Jace Peterson and Rowdy Tellez each had 2 hits. And Tyrone Taylor, the first home run of the season for him, he turned on a fastball that was like way up and inside. Like if this is the strike zone, like it's up here, like on his hands, and he just turned on it fast as hell and put it over the fence.
And that's why he's a professional.
That's like he's got that in him.
Yeah.
He's got this year and next year to prove it.
Yep.
Otherwise, there are 3 dudes nipping at his heels for outfield playing time.
Yep.
Because it's Garrett Mitchell, Sal Frelick, and Joey Wiemer. Those 3 are all nipping at Tyrone Taylor's heels to be the next guy that gets playing time in the outfield.
Mitchell was our first-round pick not too long ago, right?
He was the first-round pick in 2020. Sal Frelick was our first-round pick in 2021. And Joey Wiemer, I don't remember when he was picked, but he's really young, too. He's got some hair flow to him. Sal Frelick is a little guy. He's really little.
Oh, no, he's got hair flow?
Joey Wiemer has hair flow. I'll send you something. Like, he's, like, hitting dingers and shit in Double-A. Like, Joey Wiemer's got some juice.
God damn it. He might become one of my favorites then, dude. Oh.
I'll send you some Joey Wiemer highlights so you can watch him. But he's going to be – it's probably going to be Sal Frelick that becomes the first one of those 3 that makes it to the majors. And then, between Garrett Mitchell and Joey Wiemer. But like I said, with these 3, I'm super excited for the Brewers outfield in 2024. So excited. Oh, it's going to be so good. And they all got, like, cannons and all have range. And that's what I'm saying, Matt. Somebody has to replace Lorenzo Cain next year. So it's probably going to be Tyrone Taylor is going to step into the starting role. And then they're going to bring somebody up to be the main backup utility outfielder. And then 2024, whether they call up one or both of the other 2 and they just use Yelich as the primary DH at that point.
Yeah. Although, Yelich has been flashing the leather lately, man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. He's been flashing the leather.
Well, I mean, you don't have to use him for the DH every single game. Like, you still
I
have guys days off. But
he is going to get older, so.
Right. Next season, no McCutchen and no Lorenzo Cain. They're both free agents. So it's basically going to be 2 outfield spots up for grabs. Tyrone Taylor's probably going to get the primary work there as far as center field is concerned, but there's going to be guys nipping at heels. So Tyrone Taylor's got to start putting it together.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right.
And he's ultra talented, man. I believe in him.
He is. Yeah.
I believe in him.
I agree. All right, let's go to game 1 of the Braves series.
Yeah, Brewers won this one 6-3. Sadly, they're only winning the series. But Eric Lauer just continues to deal. Not a big fan of his 3 walks, but those are the only 3 walks that our pitching staff gave up. He had 8 Ks. It's crazy how fast Lauer became a strikeout pitcher now. Like, he went from like a ground ball pitcher to like strikeout.
Oh, I'm so here for it. I'm loving Eric Lauer.
Yeah, I'm about to jump on the Lauer hype train. I'm not gonna lie.
I defended the Trent Grisham trade for 2 years, and now Eric Lauer is like just coming in with a big old like fireball of truth, like boom. That trade was way in favor of the Brewers.
Yeah,
Trent Grisham's hitting like 165 this year.
Ugh.
He is not like Luis Urias had a better offensive season than Trent Grisham did last year, and then Zach Davies was on 2 other teams.
Yeah, that's
and we have
bad.
Eric Lauer.
Yeah, Lauer is dealing, like straight up. Lauer is dealing this year. RBIs in this game: Kane, Yelly, Adames. That's 3 straight days where Yelly is producing RBIs. So that's a really, really good sign. Tellez with 2 of them. We didn't hit any home runs in this game, but Hader got his 11th save. Gustave looked good. Boxberger. I'm a really big fan of Boxberger.
Me too.
He looked really, really good in this game. And I thought the Brewers were going to take 2 or 3 after they took the first one, but obviously that's not what happened.
So with this game, Willie Adames made like a nuts jumping catch in the bottom of the 5th inning of this game. So he's still showing the leather as well. Like the Brewers played like a really complete defensive game in this one. Luis Urias looked good on defense. Willie Adames looked good on defense. Lauer was dealing. Andrew McCutchen, he moves well for 35 years old.
Yeah.
He's getting around the bases pretty quick. The Brewers scored 4 of their runs with 2 outs. So something that kind of an Achilles heel for the Brewers at times. They did to the Braves. The Brewers won this game despite being 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gross. And they still were able to win. So that's something where, like, that's what a good team does. You know, when it comes down to losing games to the Reds or, you know, say they lose an opening series to the Cubs, like, this is something that good teams do, is that they win when they don't play well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
on the road.
On the road, too. So that's encouraging. Christian Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, Colton Wong, and Hunter Renfroe all had 2 hits in that game. And like you said, Josh Hader, still perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get the... This is the Corbin Burns game. So this is one where it's like, oh, why can't Corbin Burns get any run support? Because they're going up against Max Fried. If you don't remember, yes, Matt, he did hit the 500 career strikeouts. Getting ahead of me.
I thought that was until the Reds. Right?
That's why I said he's getting ahead of me. All right. This is it's basically a playoff matchup. Because that was game 1 of the playoffs last year was Corbin Burns versus Max Fried. And I think it was 2-1 the Braves won. We appreciate and there's Matt. See? It's the Reds. That's why we have Reds, Braves, and Reds again. Appreciate you watching from Greece. That's awesome. We love seeing that you are commenting from there because it's really cool that we can say that people across the world, literally across the world, are watching our show. So we really appreciate it.
I feel bad I can't say your name, but I have a really vanilla name, so you can say mine.
Hey, if you throw your pronunciation in the comments, and every time you comment, I can say it perfectly.
Is in Nashville, I want her to get me a sound jersey. Huh?
That'd be all right. That'd be cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
All right. So Burns, 6 innings pitched. He did give up 6 hits. Only resulted in 2 runs. Only one of them was earned. And he had 7 strikeouts. 2 errors in this game hurt, and unfortunately, it gets a loss hung on Corbin Burns. It sucks. This is similar to quarterbacks, which I have said, wins should not be a pitcher stat. Quarterbacks can't go play defense, which is part of winning. Pitchers can't play defense, which is part of winning. And pitchers don't even get to bat anymore, much less when they did, how much were they affecting games? Hardly ever.
Right.
And you're going to hang wins and losses on one guy in a sport with 9 players defensively and 9 guys batting, one of them which isn't even the guy in question who gets hung on the wins and losses. I will say it till the day I die, quarterbacks and pitchers, wins are not an individual stat in baseball and football.
And then think how many pitchers you use. Sometimes you use 5-6 pitchers in a game. So how one pitcher gets hung with the loss, I can understand if they give up a bunch of runs, but truly they shouldn't get the wins and losses. It should just be a team stat, straight up.
It should be just a team stat. That's how it should be for football as well. But
I always hated that.
The Brewers had 7 hits by 6 players. It's like the Bucks with stops. The Brewers just got to put hits together. So they can get some here and there. They got to put them together. You got to stack them on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get runs. That's how in basketball you make runs. Mm-hmm. So you got to stack things together to make the runs happen. And then 11 strikeouts and only 1 walk drawn. I don't know what you want to say about Game 3 of that series.
Burns pitched really, really well. Taylor and Renfroe with RBIs. Renfroe had a home run. Other than that, I mean, just kind of bad luck for Burns. It's kind of going to be his year this year, I think.
Well, and he's, like I said, he's the top of the rotation, so he's going to face other teams' top of their rotations more often than bottom rotations. So
and the Brewers are going to have to put some runs together at some point for him, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then, it gets to other games where the Brewers put up tons of runs, and, things happen. But Let's go to the third game of that series. I don't know what Aaron Ashby's deal is. Like, he's so up and down. He's so up and down. He only ended up having 4 innings pitched. Like, I don't know if it's that if he should be in the bullpen, like they've done with Burns and Peralta and Hader, who ended up staying there, and then just use him exclusively out of the bullpen. And, because that could solve some of the issues there as well. Because they've been sending guys up and down, like they called up J.C. Maya, who ended up kind of getting ahead a little bit. But the third game of the Reds series, he ended up giving up a bunch of runs. There are so many moving pieces in this bullpen right now. If you just stick Aaron Ashby back in the bullpen and roll with your 5-man rotation for a while, it's because it seems to be that Ashby's better out of the bullpen right now. You don't have to keep him there forever because you didn't with Corbin Burns. They started him in the bullpen in 2019. He struggled, and then he started starting pitching in 2020. And now 2 years later, he has a Cy Young award. So maybe that's the path they need to take with Ashby.
At least build him some confidence up, man. Bring him in for an inning. He doesn't allow a hit or a run or something like that. No walks, Kind of just start building that slowly. I agree with you. Put him back in the bullpen. It does kind of hurt that Hauser's not pitching the best right now either. But you can kind of live with one of your 5 starters not being dominant. I mean, That's pretty normal. I mean, the other 3 guys the other 4 guys, now that Lauer's been so damn good. I mean, pretty good, in my opinion. You go from Lauer to Burns to Woodruff. I think a lot of teams would dream of that scenario. Seriously.
I'm saying Freddie's hitting like 97 regularly now.
Yeah. And he's got the hair flow too, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, this just wasn't a great game. Gustave also gave up 3 runs. Ashby gave up 6 runs. Brousseau with the solo RBI for the Brewers. The other RBI was Yelich grounding into a double play.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just 1 of 162, man. That's how I'm going to choose to look at it.
Yeah, and, people will give you flack for that, too. It's always just 1 of 162. It's always 1 of 162. Woodruff is struggling. He's got a chance to turn around. He's probably going to be the starter on Saturday. So I'm not worried about Woodruff because his track record is so good.
Yeah,
I think he finished like 5th in Cy Young voting last year. So in a year where you're a month into the season on a late spring training start and a late season start, I'm not worried about 3 starts out of the 30 that he's going to end up making.
I think they'll be all right.
Last thing on Ashby, it seems like he's struggling with his control. So they talked about this during the broadcast a couple times. It seems like he's struggling with his control. He's appeared in 7 games so far this season, and in 3 of them he has 4+ walks.
That's very bad.
So I don't know if he's just trying to overthrow his pitches, if he's reaching back, trying to get a couple extra miles an hour. He doesn't have to. He can throw 97. Doesn't need to reach back extra to throw 98 and then end up missing his spot. And he's got a crazy moving slider that goes like 80 miles an hour. Like, he's got great stuff. Just needs some control. With this being his first full year in the major leagues, maybe that's something he gets corrected. As far as the Brewers pitching is concerned as a whole, they've done pretty well developing it. So I'm perfectly content giving guys benefit of the doubt when it comes to pitching that have a track record of pitching well, because the Brewers have done such a good job of developing pitching.
Yeah. If there's one thing the Brewers have done, that's definitely that, I will say.
Yeah. Brent Suter did pitch 2 scoreless innings, and Hobie Milner pitched a scoreless inning. He's been a pretty decent pitcher for the most part, Hobie Milner has. But, 1 out of 3 on the road, it's better than getting swept, I guess. Ashby went back and forth with contacts and glasses. Yeah, that's a issue that I've never had to deal with, so I can't really speak a whole lot on what that actually does for a guy. I can look it up. Like, if people want to know if that's something that really causes issues, I can look it up. I can ask my wife. She hasn't worn contacts, but she wears glasses. I don't know the difference with that, but
I will tell you, Chantel tells me she cannot see shit with other glasses. So that's probably something that actually could affect him. I won't lie.
Yeah, and I don't know what wearing contacts is like either, because I've never had to do that either.
Yeah. I've been blessed. No contacts.
Matt, I have no idea. I can look into it and see.
That's not crazy out of the realm, in my opinion.
Right.
Matt. It's not crazy. So.
All right. So let's go to the Reds again series.
Uh, well, this is the first of 2 games where he gave up double digits to the Reds. What the hell? Yeah,
They just beat the Braves in a series too, though. So
yeah, I know. Well, in this one, Woody, he
I think
didn't.
they beat the Dodgers in a series too. They're like three. I think they're on like 3 straight series wins now. September 11th game. Jake and I do want to go to that game. The Giannis Brewers bobblehead.
Yeah, I want to go to that one. Yeah, but now the Packers schedule's coming out too, and now I got to spend all this money on Packers tickets too, because I got to bring my stepson to the Patriots game, which is apparently week 4, and then I want to go to the Rams game. Yeah, it's not a cold one, but I want to go to the Rams game, which is going to be a cold weather game, and then I wanted to go to the Bears game again, but that one's so early. It's like, I like when Bears Packers at Lambeau is in December. It just feels right. It doesn't feel right in September to me. But we'll get there. Probably next week we could do something with the schedule. But Brewers Reds, Woody only had 4 1/3 pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Not his best stuff. Gott looked good. Gustave looked all right. Milner got hit around a little bit in this one, and Boxberger again looked like a stud. Zeros across the board for him, except 1 strikeout, 1 inning pitched. RBIs, Peterson, Taylor, Navarez, all had 1. Tellez with 2 again. The guy's just seeing the baseball well. That's just plain and simple. And Navarez with a home run. Outside of that, Woody just has to get his stuff back, man. That's it.
Yeah, like I said, he's struggled his last few starts, but I'm not as concerned about 3 or 4 starts out of what ends up being a grand total of 30.
Yeah.
So it's the sample size thing. It's a bummer that he's off to a slow start in the season, but unless he gets to the All-Star break and he has like a 5.50 ERA or something like that, like I'm not even looking at the panic button on Woodruff yet. Brewers stranded 5 base runners in this game, 4 of which were in scoring position. You strand 4 guys in scoring position. Obviously, it's not going to win you games. It was really the 5th inning that blew this game up. So the 5th inning went double, walk, double, 3-run home run, single before even recording it out. So that was rough. Like you said, Trevor Gott and Brad Boxberger, kind of like the lone bright spots. Gott came in and finished the 5th inning, and Boxberger threw a scoreless 8th. And we're on to the 2nd game of the Reds Again series.
They tried to blow this one. I will tell you that right now. Williams did not look good in this game.
He did, and then he didn't.
Yeah, he got 2 outs, and then all of a sudden it was like he forgot how to pitch, and his pitch count got. Did he hit 40?
34. I think it was 34.
Yeah, but it was getting up there. I was watching the pitch count, and I was just like, holy shit, dude, he's not gonna be able to pitch for like a week. But anyways, Peralta looked good. Suter came in for a third of an inning. He looked, very good. Boxberger, he honestly, if Hader didn't exist, Boxberger would probably be my favorite pitcher in the bullpen, just because he just comes in and he just does his job.
I liked him all year last year. He was one of the Brewers' most consistent pitchers all year last season.
He's looking like that right now this year too. One of the more consistent guys. He just comes in and does his job.
So happy we brought him back.
Yes, that was a
great re-signing.
Yes. After Boxberger, Williams came in, and like he said, he looked good, and he didn't. Perdomo came in, and your boy Urias had to make a crazy play. Was it Urias that made the crazy play? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
It was Urias that made the crazy catch.
Yep.
And then Hader had to come in, still perfect. He got save number 12. Urias also had a home run in this game and an RBI, along with Adames, Carantini, Peterson, and Wong. But I don't know what's going on with Williams, but he's really got to figure. He's kind of reminding me of Ashby, where he has good stuff too. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're just not trusting it. Like, you got to trust your stuff, man.
I don't know. It feels like a really weird start to the season. I'm glad the Brewers are still over 500 with their weird start to the season.
Yeah.
Like, if the Brewers were like 3 or 4 games under 500, I'd be like, all right, yeah, but it's been kind of a slow start, so like I'm confident they can turn it around. Mm-hmm. But the Brewers are having these issues here and there, like Devin Williams. He gets two innings or 2 outs in the inning and then gives up 3 runs. Like, and all the walks too. Like, it's not just been Ashby and Williams that have struggled with walks. Like, Hauser struggled with walks at times. Obviously, we mentioned Ashby struggled with walks at times. Like, there's been games where guys have 3, 4, 5 walks.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bad start. Like, guys, and the thing with relievers, too, is they don't pitch nearly as much as the starters do. So they have even less, you know, live at-bats that they pitch because they don't pitch, 90 pitches a game. They're pitching 10, 15, 20, 30.
Yeah, well, and then the thing about Williams is he's our setup guy. So we could legitimately go 4 or 5 games with not needing him, and then
Mm-hmm.
he still has this bad taste in his mouth from this bad, appearance.
Right. I think that's what it was, too. I think it was like 4 days because they hadn't pitched since like the previous Thursday up until Tuesday's game.
Yep.
So it was like 4 days in between. And Scott, like I said, it's not just Devin Williams that's walking guys. It's all of the Brewers so far this season have had walk issues. Hopefully we can start to see guys reel that in. But yeah, giving up walks is just it's free base runners.
Mm-hmm.
So the Brewers did draw 7 walks in the second game of that series, struck out 8 times. It's better, but the drawing 7 walks is nice. Welcome to see. Freddie Peralta was really good in that game as well. The Brewers stranded 11 runners in that game.
Ugh,
They ended up winning by 1, but they stranded 11.
that's not good.
That's a yikes for me. And then we get into the third game of that series. Let's talk about the third game of the Brewers Reds again.
Well, Hauser was a yikes for me too. So
Yeah.
he did struggle with walks. He had 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 innings pitched. Milner, he gave up 1 hit, 1 run. Suter in his inning gave up 2 hits, no runs. Perdomo pitched pretty good. Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about the other guy because 5 earned runs is bad. That's really, really bad.
Yeah, that's J.C. Maya.
Yeah, that's bad. But RBIs, obviously the man of the hour, Christian Yelich, had 3 of them. And 3 is also the number of this game because he also had his 3rd cycle. Peterson had 1, Renfroe 2, Narvaez, Tellez, Urias all with 1 RBI, and Brousseau with 2. We had 3-4 home runs in this game. Yelich, Peterson, Renfroe with 2, and Brousseau with 1. So Brewers were hitting the ball, but the Reds were also hitting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So they became the 3rd team. Like I said, 3 was the number of this game. They became the 3rd team this year in the Major League Baseball to score double digits and lose. So that kind of sucks. Other than that, I mean, Christian Yelich, guy was crazy.
Yeah, and so 2 things. Scott, definitely Bucks in 6. We spent probably like an hour talking about the Bucks to open the show. And Matt, the thing with Hauser is, yes, he gave up 7 runs, 3 earned. Only 3 of the 7 were earned, but it's the 6 hits and the 4 walks that really turned me off from Hauser in this game. He's another one similar to Woodruff. He's had a couple bad starts now, but in the grand scheme of A, the Brewers developing pitching really well, B, Hauser having a track record of being a good pitcher, and C, it's still being early in the season. We're barely over a month in, and guys are making 3, 4, 5 starts in what's going to end up being 30-plus starts. Mm-hmm. So still, trying to keep in the context and the perspective that it's going to be, it's going to be a lot more to the season to go yet. There's a lot of season left. And the track record and the development have earned the benefit of the doubt to not freak out after 3 consecutive, questionable starts.
I agree.
So the Brewers were able to make the Reds sweat it out a little bit in the 9th. They scored, 5 runs before they recorded an out. Yeah, and like Scott, that's a really good way to look at it. It's a lot of time. You just need to stay consistent. You need to get better at the things that they're doing well, and then kind of reel in the things they're struggling with. And like I said, with the Brewers, what they've done, I trust that that'll be the case. So I mentioned Hauser, 7 runs, only 3 of them earned. He did have a solid outing 2 starts ago, so he's had back-to-back kind of rough outings, but before that he had a really good one. He was pitching really well. And J.C. Maya just called up the Brewers. That's why this is the reason that I suggested moving Ashby back to the bullpen. So Maya was just called up, pitched an inning and a third, 3 hits, 3 walks, gave up 5 runs. This is really sucks because I really like his stuff. Jake Cousins is currently going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. He's rehabbing his elbow because he's trying to avoid Tommy John surgery. So that's an arm the Brewers really miss in these types of situations where you need just a 1-inning guy. Not being able to throw Jake Cousins in there sucks. It's a bummer that we can't have him in there, and that's where maybe moving Ashby back to the bullpen, whether it's pitching 3 innings after a starter doesn't do well, or pitching just an inning to bridge to Boxberger, Williams, and Hader. Whether you want to switch Williams and Boxberger, like I wouldn't be mad at it, and just let Williams pitch a non-pressure situation. Mm-hmm. However you want to handle that, I'm fine with. I trust Craig Counsell to manage the bullpen. If Ashby goes to the bullpen, I think they roll just 5 starters for a while. Like, they have an off day today, so I didn't feel that they needed to start Ashby in the 3rd game of the Braves series, in my opinion. But I understand why Craig Counsell does it. Because, yes, it gets you to a point where it's like, yeah, he'd be useful in the bullpen, but nobody's going to be complaining that Counsell is using a 6-man rotation when you get into September and all of your starters are still healthy because they haven't had as many innings on them.
True.
So that's where I defend Counsell in the 6-man rotation, is that it keeps everybody healthy. I don't want to say the name that's going to be the one that's going to be eventually called up because I don't want it. It's too early on it yet. I brought it up when we did the Brewers primer. The name to keep an eye on is Ethan Small. So he's in Double-A right now. He's pitching extremely well. He's going to be up at some point. I hope it doesn't take an injury for him to get called up, but I know they want to get him some more experience before he gets brought up. And then whether you put Small in the bullpen and you keep Ashby starting, or you put Ashby back in the bullpen and you let Small make a start or two. Counsell said it before the season that Ethan Small is going to get some starts. He's going to make starts for us this season, was his exact quote. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. Mm-hmm. But right now in the middle of May, I think it's still a little bit too soon. I think once we get to June, then maybe we see potentially Ethan Small called up and sent back down, whether it's just for a spot start or putting him in the bullpen and leaving Ashby as a starter. Maybe you get nuts and you put Ashby and Small together, and you have Ashby as an opener, and then you let Small pitch 2 or 3 innings. Whatever the case may be, we can look at the schedule and see where the Brewers have a big stretch of games where they have no off days. That's maybe where you see Ethan Small get called up and a Luis Perdomo or a JC Maya or a John Gustave or Miguel Sanchez or Hobie Milner sent down for a day and Ethan Small called up for a day. So, any of those situations, Ethan Small is probably the one to keep an eye on. All right. Let's do real quick. We got our power pair. Who do you have for your power pair pitcher?
Pitcher, I have Corbin Burns. I know his 6 hits that he gave up this week weren't great, but the 1 earned run with the 7 Ks is something that I really like, especially against a really good Braves offense, the defending champs on the road. I know he got a loss in that game, but I still feel like Corbin Burns deserves some love this week.
Sure. So I got 2 guys that I want to throw out from the bullpen. First is Brad Boxberger, 3 2/3 scoreless innings and no hits in those 4 appearances. Mm-hmm. And the other one is Josh Hader. Matt threw out there that he had the 500 career strikeouts. He's came back from back spasms and he hasn't missed a step. He's still perfect on saves. He's up to 12 for 12 now. Who do you have for your hitter?
I think you know this.
I think I know.
It's going to be Yelich.
It's Yelich.
Yeah, Yelich was 12 of 32, which is a .375 batting average, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. Talked about it before. He tied the MLB record for most cycles in a career with 3, and he is the only person to do it against one team. So he likes hitting against the Reds.
Yeah, he does. So I also have Yelich. He's the first guy to hit the cycle against the same team 3 times. He's only the 5th since 1901 to have 3 career cycles.
He did it in like a 4-year span.
It's like Yelich, Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon, and then like 2 dudes that I had never heard of. So it's probably very old.
Yeah, because they died like 50 years before we were born.
So the thing I want to throw out there right now is that Yelich is currently at his third highest career hard hit exit velocity, only to 2018 and 2019, which he could have MVP seasons for both if he didn't get hurt at the end of 2019. Yeah. And he's also currently averaging a career high in barrel percentage. So Yelich is really seeing the ball well lately, and that bodes well for him and hopefully the Brewers offense.
He has been playing much better in this last recent stretch. I know before, a couple weeks ago, you brought it up. You talked about how he's just kind of just hitting the ball hard right at people.
Yep.
And eventually, it's gonna end up starting to fall. So just keep taking your good hacks at it and see what happens. So
just keep hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, and he's starting to get some success from that approach.
All right, you got anything else you want to say?
Bucks and 6. They
Naturally.
They better wrap this shit up tomorrow night, man. Other than that, hopefully the Brewers can start stringing some wins together, winning some series, and then we'll probably be going on to Miami. We'll be talking Bucks versus Miami.
Well, the Brewers are going to Miami too, so so the Brewers start 3-game series against the Marlins tomorrow. Then they have 3 at home against Atlanta and 3 against the Washington Nationals. So, Scott, we talked about Middleton. Probably not tomorrow night. If they had a Game 7, maybe. But yes, Tim, go Sixers. As the weather gets warmer, I think Yelich is going to start hitting a lot of dingers. That's very possible. If the ball, how many balls have been hit 100 miles off the bat at a good launch angle that ended up just being deep flyouts. The Brewers are there to scout the heat for the Bucks. Hey, I'm all right with it. Just that Milwaukee to Milwaukee communication, they can go to each other's games and have fun there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, so like I said, let's hope the Bucks can get that win tomorrow night, wrap that series up, and have some rest, and be able to get everybody healthy and rested, and get Middleton back healthy and be ready to move on.
Yes, sir.
Jace is hitting better. I think now that he's back in his natural role as the super utility guy, that he's more comfortable. Packers go to Tampa week 3. Yeah, the schedule just came out, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit. We can talk about it, and then when we do our primer, that's when we'll do our record prediction and which games we're looking forward to most.
We'll talk some Packers, but going to Tampa week 3. Good, get that shit over with early, because I don't want that sitting in the back of Rodgers' mind.
14-3. Too soon to make record predictions. We got to get through training camp and stuff before I make a record prediction. I'll want to, but I'm gonna hold on to it. But yeah, right now the focus is Bucks and 6 and getting some improvement from the Brewers. So that's where my focus is at. Alrighty, man. Well, we will be back on our regular Wednesday next week. So I will see you on Wednesday.
Peace out, my man.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching from everywhere. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.